क्या माइंड सेटअप चाहिए? पहले तो बताइए सर, एमबीए जरूरी है क्या धंधे के लिए?
तो देखिए, मैं इस तरह इसको स्टार्ट करूंगा कि जो एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप जिसको हम कहते हैं ना, उसको अगर हिंदी में बोलें तो शब्द है उद्यमिता, और मैं उसको अंतरप्रेरणा से रिलेट करता हूँ। सो ये अंदर से आने वाली चीज है, राइट? और इसको करने के लिए एक अंदर वी शुड हैव दैट फीलिंग दैट वी वांट टू डू समथिंग एंड प्रूव। एजुकेशन हेल्प्स, इट क्रिएट्स नेटवर्क्स, सोशल कैपिटल, it gives you the right platform, it allows you to bridge that gap.
ऑलराइट, हाय एवरीवन। क्या एमबीए जरूरी है बिजनेस करने के लिए, स्टार्टअप करने के लिए? एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप जो बड़े बड़े वर्ड्स होते हैं उसके लिए क्या जरूरी है, आज हम वो बात करने वाले हैं। टुडे वी गॉट चेयरपर्सन ऑफ इनोवेशन एंड एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप ऑफ बीएमएल मुंजाल, जो कि हीरो ग्रुप इंस्टीट्यूशन है, उनके साथ बात करेंगे। सर, वेलकम ऑन बोर्ड।
Thank you so much for having me.
This is Deepak Pandit sir. He's an MDI गुड़गांव के PhD and he's the first batch student of BIMTech, जो भी दिल्ली में सर आपके टाइम में?
हमारे टाइम में दिल्ली में।
बहुत बढ़िया। एंड ये जरूरी है कि नहीं सर, ये बहुत सारे क्वेश्चन आता है। लेट्स बिगिन। पहली बात तो सर, स्टार्टअप वर्ल्ड के लिए क्या माइंड सेटअप चाहिए? पहले तो बताइए सर, एमबीए जरूरी है क्या धंधे के लिए?
तो देखिए, मैं इस तरह इसको स्टार्ट करूंगा कि जो एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप जिसको हम कहते हैं ना, उसको अगर हिंदी में बोलें तो शब्द है उद्यमिता, और मैं उसको अंतरप्रेरणा से रिलेट करता हूँ। सो ये अंदर से आने वाली चीज है, राइट? और इसको करने के लिए एक अंदर वी शुड हैव दैट फीलिंग दैट वी वांट टू डू समथिंग एंड प्रूव। एजुकेशन हेल्प्स, इट क्रिएट्स नेटवर्क्स, सोशल कैपिटल, इट गिव्स यू द राइट प्लेटफॉर्म, इट अलाउज यू टू ब्रिज दैट गैप, बिकॉज entrepreneurs will do entrepreneurship no matter what they study. The time and the cost of doing that is going to be longer if you don't go through the right education and the right network. Achha. MBA bridges that gap and allows you that ecosystem where you can spring and immediately become an entrepreneur and do a startup, or you can take it later on in your life.
Super. Sir, मुझे लगता है it's not required. So मुझे लगता है, but the incubation centers, what these B schools are providing, and IIM Ahmedabad के अंदर, if you're a graduate of IIM Ahmedabad, you don't want to sit in the placement, you can go out and come back after 2 years if your startup fails. पर जाके startup करो. There are many schools,
right.
And there's a fund. Bangalore has got NS Raghavan cell, right? NS Raghavan cell. So I met Rishikesh sir, who is the director of IIM Bangalore, and we had a very candid discussion about entrepreneurship as well.
Right.
तो मुझे लगता है जरूरत नहीं, पर मुझे एक और बड़ा सही लगता है MBA प्रोग्राम के अंदर. When I started CATKing in SPJain Bombay, out of my batch, my class of 60 people, sir, nearly 35 or 36 people were part of my family.
Okay.
And we, from pamphlet distribution to ideation, we did everything. उस जमाने में one of my friends gave me an idea, यार तू pamphlet distribute करता है, normal मत कर, उसके ना उसके पीछे पेपर छाप दे। जैसे कैट हुआ है तो पेपर उसके पीछे स्नैप का पेपर दे दे, लोग फेंकेंगे नहीं। तो वी स्टार्टेड डिस्ट्रीब्यूटिंग द स्नैप पेपर। मैं भी खड़ा उनके साथ बैठ के, तो पीपल नेवर, सबके बाकी कोचिंग वाले भी आते थे वहाँ पैम्फलेट बांटने के लिए, तो हमारा पेपर वाज नेवर डाउन, इट वाज ऑलवेज इन द बैग ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स। मुझे लगता है पीयर्स बहुत काम आते हैं सर, अगर एमबीए में नहीं बात हो।
पीयर्स डू, एंड टू स्पेसिफिक क्वेश्चन दैट यू रेज्ड अबाउट की जरूरत है कि नहीं है, राइट? देखिए, स्टैटिस्टिकली तो इंजीनियरिंग एंड स्पेशली अंडर ग्रेजुएट लेवल पे एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप काफी पॉपुलर है। स्टैटिस्टिकली वी फाइंड दैट मोस्ट एंटरप्रेन्योर्स स्टार्ट एट एन अंडर ग्रेजुएट सिचुएशन, बट जो चीज इंपॉर्टेंट है, आई वुड से, इज आर यू बीइंग एंटरप्रेन्योरियल और डू यू वांट टू डू एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप, और दोनों में फर्क है। ऑल individuals in today's context, especially if you are doing post graduation and you are going to a corporate world, need to be entrepreneurial. You need to think entrepreneurially, which we equate with trying to identify a problem, do creative problem solving, and actually leverage resources which may not be available to give a solution.
Right.
अब ये चीज कि आप प्रॉब्लम ढूंढ सकते हैं, आप उस प्रॉब्लम के लिए क्रिएटिव सोल्यूशन ढूंढ सकते हैं, और उसके लिए आप उन रिसोर्सेज को कमांड कर सकते हैं जो आपके पास नेचुरली हो या ना हो, लिवरेज कर सकते हैं, इज रिक्वायर्ड अक्रॉस जॉब्स, वेदर यू आर अ लॉयर, हिस्टोरियन, और यू आर वर्किंग इन अ मैनेजमेंट रोल इन एनी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन।
तो स्टार्टअप की तरफ सोचना ही पड़ेगा कि भाई, चाहे तुम जी जैसी ओल्ड कंपनी में भी काम कर रहे हो। व्हेन आई वाज इन जी सर, आई रिमेंबर माय बॉस टेलिंग मी द सेम थिंग, कि इट्स यू टेक योर ओन रोल एज एन एंटरप्रेन्योर। ना कौन रोक रहा है तुम्हें?
सी, आजकल ऑल कंपनीज have become entrepreneurial. So, you know, we say that in the corporate sector, we all rise to the level of our incompetence.
Right.
So I spent about 15 years in the corporate sector before I said I must branch out and be an entrepreneur.
Yeah, it's a tough call.
And I did 2 entrepreneurship. One is my PhD, which I call a very entrepreneurial venture.
Okay.
The other is my own startup, right? So being entrepreneurial is a call. But that entrepreneurial thinking, if you can imbibe, that will help you in good stead, because today's companies do not know what the future holds for tomorrow. The CEO does not know what is the action required on the ground. He's counting on young MBA graduates to show him that light.
True.
If those graduates cannot think on their feet, if they cannot speak those white spaces, which are not obvious to everybody, they cannot give those solutions, those graduates will very soon reach that height of incompetence. So I say it's a life skill. Students, especially MBAs, need to acquire that thinking skill. Whether that thinking skill is applied in a corporate job or in creating a venture of its own, it's a choice.
Got it. What's your advice for these young kids? These 20-21 साल के बच्चे हैं अभी, and you know, I was whiling away my time. I remember we were discussing about all these books called at a Pan Tapri in Bombay in Andheri, and it was night 9:30. So there was a guy called Pankaj Rajdhan, और Lexus car में उतरे, he was with the family, and he took a pan next to it. So हम लोग वो पान खाने जाते थे, and this guy was the CEO of ICICI Prudential that time.
Okay.
And we were discussing नए MBA Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he just came to us, यार तुम लोग क्या सही बातें कर रहे हो, कितनी उम्र है, हमने वैसे 21, 22, 21, 22. इस उम्र में I was the drinking beer and पता नहीं कहाँ पड़ा हुआ था, यार you guys gonna go a long way. And he just said one line and he went off. And he said, give me your addresses, I'm going to ship you my book. हमने उधर फटाफट SMS किया, उस जमाने में WhatsApp नहीं था, BBM वगैरह था. And entrepreneurial होना अलग बात है, बट एक संगति में रहना उन लड़कों की जो धंधा कर रहे हैं is also very important. What do you think? बातें कर रहे हैं
नहीं, absolutely. तो मैं इसको I will put it like this, that when you are and wherever you may be in your career, right, you need to reach out to people who are thinking in the way you wish to go, and I would add, thinking differently from the way you are thinking. So if you reach out, you know, and ideally, for example, as a personal practice, I always reach out to people whose thinking starts where my thinking finishes. Why? Because that allows me to have a growth mindset.
Wow.
So today's students, what they need to understand is that it's going to be an ever-learning curve with AI, ChatGPT, and whatnot. So whatever you know today, whatever 2 years of hard coding or hard skills you're going to learn, they're going to be obsolete by the time you hit the job market.
True that.
So what is going to actually be your savior is your ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Now that aspect comes through this thinking. So this network of people that you keep around you who are thinking differently or taking you in the direction, if you want to be an investment banker or you want to be an entrepreneur, will help you build. I'll add one more thing here. I find one of the biggest challenges with MBAs and the drawback which you said we don't find too many entrepreneurs is, you know, the relationship with money.
Yeah.
So students should be encouraged to come to terms very early in their career about what is their relationship with money. And I define cash not as CASH but as KASH, and which I learned from, you know, one of my sessions at IIM Ahmedabad, from a professor there, which is knowledge, attitude, skills, and habit. So if you develop the art of acquiring knowledge, an attitude of working hard, skill which is valued in the market, and make this a habit and not a spontaneous or not a one-off aspect, money is sure to follow. So those are the...
Sir, ये 4 किताबों का सार है जो 4 लेटर आपने से बोल दिया ना. This is the quality of Superman. I am a CEO myself. We have a company of running now. There are 80+ employees. Sir, ये इनमें 3 स्किल भी हो जाए ना बहुत बड़ी. जो आपने हैबिट वाली बात करनी है, oh my goodness. Skills भी बोल रहे हो, habit भी बोल रहे हो. It's like this guy is showing up at 8 a.m. in the morning, performing his skills. This is like a Superman habit.
So habit comes with practice, but when we have, you know, these young fertile minds for 2 years, and you know, like we were having that discussion, that if they're sleeping more than 4 hours, we are not doing our job.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
So that 2 years of what you can ingrain.
Just to give a reference point, so मैं और सर बात कर रहे थे, the day when I was in SPJain Bombay, हमारे डायरेक्टर साहब आए थे, और उन्होंने ये बात बोली थी, if you are sleeping more than 4.5 hours every day, we know I'm not doing my job well. So sir is giving reference to that. Nevertheless, yes sir.
Right. So if we can inculcate the knowledge aspects comes through naturally through the books,
True,
right?
true.
It is the attitude of whether you are willing to build on it. Do you have the resilience in case you fail, right? And then, of course, you have to acquire some skills. So whether the skill is of hard skill of knowing finance, of knowing operations or HR, or the soft skill of managing people, of how to manage your emotions and how to manage failure. All these in combination, and if you keep on practicing, it will become a habit.
Super, great. Sir, I know you're a busy guy, but one last question, sir. Sir, आप शॉर्ट में बताइए कि आइडिया है मेरे दिमाग में, मैं MBA कर रहा हूँ, IIM अहमदाबाद, SPJain, BML मुंजाल, हर जगह पे आज इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर है. क्या होगा मेरे साथ? फर्स्ट ईयर में आइडिया को इंक्यूबेशन सेंटर में कैसे लेके जाना है, या सेकेंड ईयर में लेके जाना है, क्या प्रोसेस क्या होता है सर?
देखिए, all incubation centers would allow you an ability to ideate.
Okay.
The institutions that you talked about, they also have mentors and professors who are focused on this area, and there are sometimes courses also. For example, at BML Munjal, we've got specialized courses. So the first and the advantage of going to such institution is you can actually get to the bottom of your idea and learn whether the idea can be taken forward or in what shape and more effort is required. So the first is to really go ideate, take it to market, do some testing, develop your assumptions about that idea which are there in your mind, test them out in a remote environment and sometimes on the field, and see if that business becomes viable with some assumptions and field testing. If that, in conjunction with the mentors that you may have at the institution and sometimes from the industry, feels like something which is worth pursuing, take the next steps.
Got it.
Right? And here I'll add one thing.
ये सब में सर B School help करेगा?
100%. So the incubator is the key, and the faculty who's going to be the anchoring, along with the mentors which are provided by the ecosystem at the incubator, would be the key people. Because what is required here is...
Sir, do you give funding as a?
Funding would come later. So
नहीं, प्रोटोटाइप का पैसे कौन देगा सर? मैं तो बच्चा हूँ भी, फीस दे के मैं तो लोन लेके आया हूँ IIM में.
So कुछ skin in the game तो आपको डालना पड़ेगा अगर आप लोन लेकर आए हैं. So देखिए, one has to be very clear. If you are developing the prototype, some skin in the game has to be done by you. The institution will definitely offer incentives. There are a lot of schemes by the government which will give you, for all kinds of prototype support is available. But the proof of concept, where the concept is understood, whether it's a video-based prototype, whether it's a narrative, whether it's a storyboard, that has to be done in the incubator, trialed with the assumptions, the field testing done, and then if you really want to make a working prototype, and I'll add one more thing. See, entrepreneurship and innovation have a very intrinsic relationship, right? So there is no root of entrepreneurship without innovation. So, and there is no fruit of innovation without entrepreneurship.
Okay.
Right. So, what the students need to understand is there are a lot of Me Too ideas, right? Because India is a large market and we have ideas which can get copied, and because of this large market, the ventures can become viable. And that will continue to exist because of the size of our country or size of our market. I think we have been losing out on the opportunity to innovate.
True.
And that's because this opportunity of simply adding delta to a model which has existed and going after the large market has allowed the student to be very successful.
Right.
Today is the time when we are rising up in the innovation quotient and the innovation index, and the ecosystem is coming with efforts from the government and with academia and other practitioners and policymakers stepping in. So the students need to be very clear that what is the innovation quotient in their idea.
Super.
There has to be a novelty. And I would also urge, and I tell all my students, we in India so far have lacked that world vision. When I look at business plans, I will do 10 crores, 100 crores, and now I've started seeing a few 100 crores plan. Why can't we do a few $1 billion plan? Why can't we think that the Googles and Microsoft will come from India? The time has come. So the students have to imagine their ideas will be global. They have to have that novelty or innovation in that idea which has a global application, and they have to go after it.
Super. पर सर मैं भी entrepreneur पहले लगता है इंडिया ही कर लो पहले इंडिया ही कर लो 27-28 स्टेट्स हैं हमारे पास इतनी लैंग्वेजेस हैं पहले वही करो but I am with you on that.
I think we have to look at being born global.
This is so amazing. This is so amazing. All right, boys and girls, drop in a comment section. How do you guys like this conversation? और तुम्हारे क्या विचार हैं entrepreneurship के ऊपर? What do you guys think? What I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the 5 best guys and ship you guys one of the best favorite books सर की फेवरेट और मेरी फेवरेट बुक, 5 किताबें, लुकिंग एट कमेंट सेक्शन, जो हम करेंगे 1 महीने के बाद जब वीडियो रिलीज होगा। आप मुझे कमेंट करके बताइए व्हाट्स योर टेक ऑन एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप, आपको क्या लगता है, क्या एमबीए जरूरत है, नहीं है? धीरूभाई अंबानी ने एमबीए नहीं की थी। फूड फॉर थॉट, कमेंट सेक्शन के अंदर मिलते हैं। डू इट ऑन द लाइक बटन। थैंक यू सो मच सर,
Pleasure.
ऑनर टू मीट यू सर, थैंक यू सो मच, टेक केयर।